Das ist willkommen die Livestream von Shape. Heute Nacht ist in London stehen. Ja, Oxfordstraße. Was passiert jetzt? Hallo? Thank you for tuning in. We'll be having a little wander down Oxford Street this evening. Going to Central, see what's happening. See if we can find something interesting. It's been I've been to work today. Got a good amount of tasks done. Yeah, went to work, got a good amount of tasks done. The office is running some Thursday night beers thing, so I had beer there. Wandered off. Went to a Spoons. Found they were selling pints of beer for 99p. Had one of those, had some chicken wings. Had another pint of beer, and now I'm here. Good evening, Mickey Mick. Yeah, we're just going to have a wander around central London and see what's popping tonight. A bit of a politically momentous week, I think it's been. Vast amount of pressure on the current government, given that all of this Partygate stuff has been coming out. Precipitous rises in household bills, an average rise of, what do they say, 650 quid a household today. The Chancellor throwing a bone to a few people in terms of council tax rebates, but it's only going to translate into fewer rubbish collections or more closed public toilets. I can really see there. Yeah, not good. Gonna have to start paying for all this vast amount of borrowing in the last 2 years soon, I think, which means ugly tax rises. But I bet you ugly tax rises based on the PAYE classes, not on the company directed classes. So yeah, but buckle up, it's going to be a fun few years. Alright, yeah, Selfridges. What's this supposed to mean? Some kind of therapy pipe cleaner installation here. SpongeBob SquarePants installation. Leopold Bloom it was. The Leopold Bloom edition, right? Because it's 100 years of that James Joyce novel Ulysses, which, I mean, I tried to read it when I was like 21 and then got a quarter of the way through and then realised it's an extremely thick book. But yeah, it's the whole thing with Ulysses, right? It's just like a dude wandering around Dublin for a day, and the way it's written just has a vast amount of weird cultural references in it. Lots of Catholic Bible, lots of bits of Latin, and lots of just, yeah, very contemporary early 20th century stream of consciousness type writing going on. So I thought 100 years later it's the right name for the stream, really. Putting this in, as it's not too many leagues apart. I can't profess to be as much of a wordsmith as Joyce was, but who knows? This is the modern media for it. Some kind of, what's this supposed to be? Some kind of modern Buddha, modern ghetto Buddha. It is really. I mean, it's just really taking the, you know, that imagery of the Buddha and then it's putting a pair of trainers and a gold chain on it. It's abominable. Yes. I mean, wasn't the whole point of Buddhism was to just, you know, just seek complete absolution in the self, seek complete enlightenment from owning nothing, and being happy in your own state, and then, you know, sticking that on the Selfridges, which is, I think that looks for absolution in a different way. One of more having the man-made world around you in your perfect image. It's not you are at one with the world, it is the world is at one with you. I think that's what Selfridges is selling. Yeah. Your own personal godhood. Yeah, so we're just going to wander around, see what we can find tonight. It's Thursday night in February. The papers are lamenting at the lack of office workers coming into town. We will see what is popping. Place. Oh, I have done that. Let's see what's up here. Anything fun? There's a new noodle restaurant up here that's opened. So let's see what it's like. Welcome to the new year together. It's just off Oxford Street on the north side. A little bit before the circus. Good evening, Mr. Jones. Thinking of getting Spotify. Black Lives Matter. Worcestershire. Okay, yeah, this is the new noodle restaurant actually. Marogame Udon. As far as I understand, this is the kind of Franco Manca of Japanese food, effectively, this place. What do we have on the menu today? Fish broth, $3.45. Tonkotsu. There's like a udon plus some like stewed pork plus some egg plus some bits of cabbage plus some seaweed. £8. $8.45, $8.95. Chicken katsu curry. The udon $6.95. Actually, quite reasonable prices here. Mayfair. This is for W1 London. This is cheap as chips almost. Place that I haven't really been here before. Warni. Good. Fantastic sign of Westminster Council's urban decay. One day this was a public toilet. No, it's not anymore. I don't know, this is just this thing where like you see that again, closed public toilets or public toilets that turn into cocktail bars are this great sign of civic immunity that they don't really exist anymore. What's this place? Antipasti. Italiano restaurant. blood pressure en Cristo. Besito también. What's this? Steak and burgers. Malini online. See what's up here, eh? The spook. Frank Zappa, Domingo Zapata. 5k. Jump change for the glasses here, I suppose.
No, it's to die. No.
Hello, Mr. Creative Zealots. Just going for a little wander around central London tonight. Seeing what's popping. A hat shop. Ristorante Olivene. Diverso. Single but double-breasted suit. Wigmore Street to the Wigmore Hall we go, right? Down here, so this is kind of skirting between, I suppose, Mayfair and Marylebone. We go down Wigmore Street, left for Marylebone, right for Mayfair. Maybe we can wander around Marylebone a bit. I've been there for a while. We go down there. There's a Sam Smith pub. That building was, the Shun Clinic was rebuilt recently. Sam Smith's pub, but they probably will kick you out if you have the mobile telephone with you. One fat freezing treatment. Oh yeah, we're hitting Martine McCutcheon territory here, aren't we? But you go up a couple of streets and then you hit the what is it, Harley Street is one or two up on the left, so it's all full of private medical clinics and stuff here up by Cavendish Square. Is the next one or the one after? Is Harley Street? So you go for your rejuvenating treatments up here. This is the Wigmore Hall, which is a nice little concert venue. It's right up here. The Keep of Brook Green. I'm not sure, where is Brook Green? Sorry, I'm not. Is that like near Turnham Green, or is that near some other kind of green, Putney Green or something? This is the Wigmore Hall, I think. No, 33, no, maybe the Wigmore Hall's the next one, but one of these, is it that one? There's a queue outside. Well, one of these is. I've been to one of these for a concert before. They had some little chamber music thing during the proms. Oh yeah, this is the Wigmore.
So this would be one.
It's just the half-time drink, I think. What have we got on today? Thursday the
What's the quality?
In memory of Marcel Proust. And that's the ding for the end of the on the Shish de Marcel Proust. That's what we got today.
He was waiting. He texted me and he said, I'm still here in Paris waiting for if you want to open.
What else do we have here? Sunday Yoga Day on Friday. Sounds pretty Nigerian folk to me. What else? Got Songs of Praise favourites, the Ken and Masons on Saturday. Yeah, big mix of the world and the classical on that roster for the Wigmore Hall. It's pretty niche stuff, but sure you can fill the hall in this end of London. Keep of Brock Green. So yeah, we're going Wigmore, Wimpole. I think it's Harley is the next one up here. But, so yeah, we just passed the Wigmore Hall, which is like one of these like smaller little concert venues in London. And it does, yeah, slightly more niche stuff, but it's quite interesting. I've been there a few times before. They sometimes hold some of the afternoon stuff when the proms are on. But otherwise, it's usually a quite interesting little programme. Tonight they were running a concert in memory of a 19th century, early 20th century French modernist author who wrote A Stream of Consciousness. And if you try and read his books, I commend you because they're very long and the sentences are about 4 pages. I tried, but it was a bit of a beast when I tried. Anyway, we're going up to what's this, Cavendish Square now? It's an Italian restaurant where they still give you the grissini there. The complimentary breadsticks when you sit down. And pay the coperto. The cover charge. Yeah, Harley Street, favourite street of doctors worldwide. Bespoke medical treatments everywhere. Yeah, so you're just right on the back of Oxford Street here. So some voluminous car park underneath it. And I'm gonna go pop a cow. I bought a tin, maybe 2 tins. Went for one of these. Gin, rhubarb and ginger. £1.50. Suitable beverage. Not too strong, not too big. So yeah. Right, we're going through Cavendish Square. Maybe head on a bit further. And we hit what, Gloucester Place, Baker Street, Portland Place. We skip a right down here, we get back to Oxford Circus. We go a little bit on, we can turn right and go back through the BBC. But I think what will happen is that if the curling club. So my understanding is that if Oxford Street ever gets pedestrianised, basically all the buses will be shoved down this road, and it will become absolutely nuts. So I have to create I guess on the crossroads, one way on both of them. The Langham, the curling club.
Well done. You've done it. It's done.
Some kind of Winter Olympics thing here, aren't we?
Sorry. Not David's general
This is yeah, pretty much. It's you take a left at one of the ends here, you end up somewhere near Regent's Park. I might see what this place is like. Looks interesting.
I've actually used something.
It's wildly interesting. Anyway, let's keep moving wandering around. I would have got it if I had a drink in my hand, which is not my most stashable of things. Anyway, down Gloucester, Portland, Baker. A week more, private parties. No buses except for access to premises. So yeah, we're back up at the BBC now. Let's see what's happening. Okay, yeah, it really is just at the back of the Langham Hotel, actually, that little bar thing, so we can probably even get in there from that side. That's it. Security under the Gill statue. What else do we have here? Don't see actually if actual or anyone wants to go cover. I think it's supposed to be some kind of truck convoy driving around the UK, either in the southwest or one in Scotland this weekend. If anyone's going to actually go out and cover it. But yeah, this is where we are here. Broadcasting House. Pretty quiet tonight. Let's head down to Oxford Circus and down Regent Street and then we cut up Carnaby. Walking down a deleted street of road space.
Portland Street.
Gruyère and Coke. Some kind of dancing area there. La-di-da spinning class, I think. Great Portland Street. Off license, alcohol-free off license. It's a bit of a weird name, isn't it? Because like, if it was an alcohol-free off license, why would it need an off license? It's just merely a concept store, I believe. So nothing here contains any alcohol at all. Yep, that's true. An off license that doesn't even need an off license. What quackery is this? Gut health, live cultures. Crodino aperitivo non alcolico. What's the point? Just like have some tea or some fruit juice. Yeah. Basically the off license that doesn't need it. That's insane. Drink mindfully and live well. Yeah, well it probably is. It's probably like a non-alcoholic mead or something like that, isn't it? That's everything is available to sample, just ask. That's interesting. But I don't know. There's plenty of stuff in the world of soft drinks anyway, but perhaps it's... I mean, I don't know, I just take umbrella to say non-alcoholic drinks, just say soft drinks. It's like the, you know, it's well known, but maybe you get conflated with Coca-Cola too much. This is a way of charging more than whatever Coke can do. But yeah. So, I'm sure this is one of these only in London things that can possibly exist here. All your brands of non-alcoholic beers and non-alcoholic gins and non-alcoholic rums and non-alcoholic wines, and there we go. It's just Puritanism in a bottle. We have light drop. So this is a scan me. Again, I take so much umbrage to this because, like, what the hell does that mean to a human? It means fuck all. It means like someone wants to, like, you know, take a photo or screenshot it. But what does it mean? Scan me. Does it mean like the URL on there? So I can type it in, but this is bicycle parking that you pay for, it seems like, with no bikes in it. Bike drop. We have a bit. Clutch Cafe, Belarusian, electric and urban bikes. You see, do they sell any suitable bikes for urban riding, or are they hipster? I don't think they're concerned about theft, as there's no, I can't really see. Clutch Cafe, Great Corner, Riding House Street, Urban Living, Diving Despair. Okay. Wandering through here. Marylebone through Fitzrovia. See what we find.
Yeah.
So, bit of a wander. I don't really come here very often, so Who knows what we'll find down here. University of Westminster Legal Advice Clinic. University of Westminster. Angela Lawson has those bottles. I'm sure Angela Lawson gets paid by various companies to market whatever the hell she gets paid enough money for there, right? So, she does this very particular brand of, what you say, slightly saucy cooking shows. Pretty middle-aged woman cooks food in Hampstead. I think that's kind of the format of it, isn't it? Here. A few restaurants down there. Back to up the street there. Might go up into Marylebone actually. I ain't been there for a long time. I think you go to Soho, you kind of see it all quite a bit. Let's see what's up here. Macmillan Pub. Hipster light bulbs. On a rack. Beer with a question mark. One of those. I always take great umbrage with these offices because they're like invariably tend to be offices of like estate agents or something, right? And like, you know, if you're like a member of staff and you're working here and there's just like the public walking past you every day, looking straight in at what you're doing, it must be. You must feel like a bloody monkey in a zoo, right? Oh look, he's picking up the telephone. Oh look, he's typing on the keyboard. Oh look, he's picking his nose. Yeah, landlord fee schedule. Yeah. All right. So I've called it. It says landlord tenant fee schedule. So it is like a letting agency or an estate agency here. But like, I don't get why these places just like put all their staff on like complete view of the public all the time. I just. Or why they also put or why they connect their monitors to their computers with the blue VGA ports rather than the HDMI ones. But you kind of get me that it's like I'd go crazy working in an environment like this that just like random members of the public were just kind of peering into what you're doing all the time. Like, you know, I would get the genuine feeling if it was like a lion or a penguin or a polar bear in a zoo. It's how to design, you know, workspaces to be stressful for people. Man. Yeah, just like, you know, put some screens up, get people working a little bit of privacy. It's enough even having the person sitting next to you peering into what you're doing, but like having just like some little 9-year-old child plastering his face against the window and wiping his nose on it and then looking at what you're doing. It's like a, you know. Sushi bar, Shuro Buta, edamame beans, gyozas, tacos, beef fillet sashimi platter, £25. Tuna, salmon, yellowtail, sushi roll, spicy tuna. If they're like, tuna is one of these like I think very overlooked food in Britain because it's like if you have this like fatty tuna, it's actually a far superior fish meat to it's far superior fish to like salmon. So you would very rarely get the unless you go to very specialist Japanese places. You'd have very few chances to actually taste it, but it's far better actually. But yeah, it's dead expensive. Puree salad size, steam sized miso soup, £5. With the tofu in it, actually. Not so bad. But yeah, I think it's people in Britain are generally missing out because, you know, tuna steak, tuna fillet, but when it's like really fresh and good, and so it's this kind of fatty tuna type, it's just like the best fish. Everyone thinks tuna is a thing you get in a tin and it's like a flaky and dry, and, you know, you put it with sweet corn and mayo on a sandwich, but for all intents and purposes that's just the crap bit of the tuna. Crown and scepter. Alright. We're going to go for a very short bathroom break, and we'll be back out here in a second.
No one's telling me. But I'm so glad I'm working on it now. No, but it's not going to happen. No,
Something to acknowledge that my audio is back, please. I think I'm okay. We're going to carry on going up there. But yeah, we're going to head up into Marylebone a bit more, and we'll see where. Marylebone High Street, up here on the left a little bit. Let's see what's popping over there. Goodo.
But then they broke up.
Well, I spent today doing many various things to work. Setting up a Shopify website, making connecting some sensors to some like big cork cloud software. This is alright. Okay, let's press the button and the light should come on. Where are we now? So you are here, Great Portland, New Cavendish, Regent's Park, Portland thing. We go across a bit more, Baker Street, we can go back a little bit. St Mary's Church, Landmark Hotel. Marylebone High Street is across 1, 2, 3 big ones. I think that might be kind of interesting if we go to Marylebone High Street. Taking you around a bit of the Monopoly board here. And this is okay. It's right off the back of Tottenham Court Road. It's like a Regis office to me. It's a Regis office. Landmark. Maybe not. New Cavendish Street. So this is all in the shadow of the BT Tower up here. So sometimes get the chance to go up on the London Open House Day. Ah, 10-minute nose job. Dermamin. Tear trough treatment. Less baggy eyes. Dopamine. Botulinum toxin injected straight into your brow. Lipophilic collagen. Pig bone marrow, isn't it? Injected straight into your lips. Oh well. It's almost like that. Let's go around with. I think there's a film that kind of captures that, you know, what do you call it? Holding on to youth and not looking on in the future. I'm sure there's some kind of German word for doing that, but it's a bit on recherche de temps perdu, but it's that film Brazil where like the protagonist he's this man who works in some lowly civil service job in a very dystopian future, and his mother is some like posh lady who just has vast amounts of plastic surgery just to keep her head up. It seems this pompous pie in the sky character. I don't know. I think of plastic surgery and I think of that. It's like that. It's like that. I don't know if you ever read it. I think they were actually rerunning a reading of it on Radio 4 the other week. There was a replay of Jazz Age literature. There's this F. Scott Fitzgerald book, which is called The Beautiful and the Damned. And again, I kind of in the reading phase went through it when I was in the early 20s. But it's this like very interesting treatise on like people who've got more money than sense, and how I suppose it doesn't, you know, money doesn't make you a nice person. Because the whole point of The Beautiful and the Damned is these just two people who just like people who like grow up with a trust fund in the 1920s, you know, get married and just have this kind of very partyish life, but you can tell it's a very vapid and hollow thing. I think in the way the writer writes it, it's all about saying that they have a life of excess, but they also have a life of lack. It's like a, you know, it's an excess of partying, but it's or as Robbie Williams said, it's an overdose of Christmas, but they can't really give it up for Lent. It's a life of partying, but without meaning. And the whole thing is they become very one-dimensional people by the end of the story. These protagonists are The Beautiful and the Damned, and I suppose this is kind of what it means. There is people have these particular characteristics, but they never really flesh out into fully developed or grown people because they haven't been given the necessary hardship to do so. They haven't been given the opportunities to discover themselves. They've just been living in this very cushy bubble their entire life, and they become rather one-dimensional, rather embittered, and rather almost psychopathic types, because it's all about them living through party years when they're young and hanging on and fighting tooth and nail with all the money that they have to get some vast inheritance when their relatives die. And the book ends with just with the main character from the book just like he's on some transatlantic ocean liner at the end, and he gets his telegram to say he's got his money, and he says yes, but he's lived his whole life just in this embitterment and the chasing of money and the burning of money, but not really much else. I mean, I wonder why Fitzgerald wrote it that way, right? Because evidently people can be wealthy and have a good life as well, but he kind of wrote it in that you could be wealthy and you can throw it all away. No, it just seems to me sometimes that it's like it's almost a bit of an easy or a bit of a vindictive conclusion to make that, well, you got some money and then you throw it all away yourself. But I think it's more subtle to kind of figure out people who actually try and do something and get a struggle from it, because I don't know, it's just what do you call it? It's Schadenfreude, really, is the way that you're writing it. If anyone's ever read it, please put some comments in the chat. I don't know, it seems a little bit one-dimensional as the way to write it to me. They just plumb they plumb the depths of their own narcissism, and it has no end to it. And you know, I can't. It just seems like humans have subtleties in them. They have limits they can reach. I think having someone who is limitless is it has to be an intentional caricature of a character, but they're not funny enough to be like that. I don't know, it's lauded a bit, but I perhaps don't take it so much. I think if you read like the other novel, and like The Great Gatsby in a way, I think is a little bit better of a book because at least you get the torment in the character there, that he's trying to impress people, and he's being a gangster at the same time, and he's holding those two things off in his own. He's trying to be an upstanding fellow, but he's really a criminal, and he's holding those two things off in his own personality, and that I think is what makes like the character of Gatsby in that book interesting. But like the other one, it doesn't say much. I don't know. You just sturm and drang in your characters. Anyway, we're heading down to Marylebone High Street, which is supposed to be down on the left now. We're in a rat race. Yeah, we are in a bit of a rat race now. I kind of feel it. Definitely, there's just levels to it, right? Is that there are levels, and you have to get up to there are levels, or there are leagues to it. I mean, I think I certainly feel at the point I need to buy myself a house soon, and I'm really trying to chase my way out of this ridiculous price rise that is happening, because I went around a lot of the UK recently, went to Liverpool a few weeks ago, went down south the other week, and you don't realise there aren't really any cheap if you want to live in a house that's not like a terrible terraced house in Barnsley or something, like Blackpool or whatever, if you want to live in one of the terrible some of the nasty areas in those places, there's no one really that's cheap left in the UK that's has this trifecta of it's relatively safe, you can have something that's built fairly well, and you have some kind of transport link around. There's nowhere there are very few places that offer you excellent value for money anymore there. You're really screwed. I mean, London is just a different league. It's just you've got to compare it to all the dirty money of the world, but even in the rest of England, it's you're really struggling now. Went to Liverpool and realised that the price of something decent in Liverpool is the price of something decent anywhere else in the country. I think you've had the last few years of just a vast amount of money pouring into everywhere. And it means that essentially pricing for the same quality of stock is homogenised across the entire country, no matter how far you are from decent employment. Not really sure how much more there is to give in this market. I figured out as well that it just seems utterly insane to me that there's this new government scheme maybe came out a year or two ago. It's called the Help to Buy Equity Loan Scheme, which, basically the government just gives you free money. Well, gives new home developers free money, right? The way it works is that to help you buy a new place, the government will give 20% of the value of your house as a 5-year interest-free loan to you to help you buy the place. If you're in London, it will give you a 40% interest-free for 5 years loan to buy a place for up to £600,000. So effectively, that's and the way that this loan works is that you basically have to pay back that proportion of equity when you sell the house. So if they give you 40% to buy a place in London for up to 600k, and you sell it 5 years later for maybe 10% more, then you just have to pay, 240k plus 10% to 64k or whatever it is. If you sell the house for 10% less, you don't have to pay back the full value of the loan. You pay, 240k minus 10%, it's 216k or whatever, right? So the government's giving you essentially a risk-free loan to hang on to for 5 years before they start charging any interest on it, at I think 1.75% per annum, which goes up a little bit after that. And you have to start paying the loan back. But effectively, it's some vast scheme to just prop up the price of new housing. A cap in London is £600,000 with a 40% loan for it, and in the rest of the country it's 20%, and they have varying caps for like how much a house can be worth. In the northeast it's about 250k, in the south it's like 350 to 450, I think. But it's still like, when you think of it, it's the government basically just giving like up to nearly £250,000 to house builders, or in other cases like 70, 80, 90,000 pounds a house to help prop the new build market up. It's absolutely insane when you look at it. Like, and it all comes under the guise of helping people buy houses, but it's like, it's really just a scheme to keep the scheme going for a few more years, because I think it makes the point that you can only get these on new houses, right? So someone has to buy your house. If you want to sell it, someone has to buy it for this, vastly subsidised price in 5 years' time. And I suppose that they're counting on in 5 years your house will go up by 20%, so someone will buy it anyway. Or in 5 years in London it will go up by 40%, so someone will consider its market price to buy anyway. But it's just an absolutely insane direct subsidy to house builders, right? Every house you build will give you up to 240 grand. Think of how many years of tax the average person has to pay to even make that amount of money, right? Crazy.
Stay longer than, I don't know, 9.
I mean, it's a loan and it's printed money. And it's probably not money you're paying in tax, right? It's just extra subsidy, and even the government hopes that if they do enough of it and they keep it going for long enough, the pound will inflate itself away and people will still keep buying 35, 40, 50-year joint mortgages, and this thing will still keep going. But it's just like, as it is, it's insane when I looked at it. It's in this bookshop, eh? Yeah, I think I was looking at like, well, I think there's a lot, right? It's like mass migration is one part of it, but simply just printing money is another one. Yeah. Well, CGT is just like, with no capital gains tax, but then like how many people are actually buying enough stocks each year to make CGT? You've got to make 12.5 grand a year on, 12.5 grand a year, I believe, is like what you can get on capital gains tax without having to pay any tax on top of it. So, and most people who are investing through ISAs don't really get hit by that at all. So you're only really getting hit by CGT when you're really seriously into your stocks. For a lot of people, it's just buy some bonds, put some money in some savings accounts that just lose money at the end of the day through deflation anyway. And the rest is put money into your house. That's the only way you can build up any kind of wealth over time. Yeah, I think I was up crypto a while ago, but it's kind of gone down now. So, but I'm kind of happy with the fact that I just leave it in there for a few years, and see what comes out of it in like 2024 or something. Just forget about it for the time being. I think that's the best option. Alright, so this is Marylebone High Street. It's a thing a government will never really address properly, because it's like, for young people, housing is one of the biggest issues. As far as I see it, it's that, especially if you're young or recently married or whatever, if you can't get yourself a stable place to live that you can live in long term and isn't penuriously expensive, usuriously expensive to live in, like your ability to like have a family, your ability to like hold down a steady job, your ability to put down roots in a community are vastly limited. And like, again, it just hits you with like the amount of new and young families happening, the amount of like, you know, strong community groups being formed, people looking after their own neighborhoods. Like, if you can't get stable, secure housing at an affordable price, like without, you know, 2 well-paid young people working full time, you know, it's just very much like your whole civil fabric just falls down at the side of it. I feel like it's very much overlooked because it's just like buying you votes for all the people who are resisting it and already own a place. But really, it's about, you know, is your next generation able to have, you know, the next generation of strong and stable families? I misquote Theresa May. But if they aren't, your whole fabric of society is just dying here. And it isn't very nice to see that. It's just like, you know, the whole way that you grew up and the whole way your parents grew up, like, it's becoming more and more difficult now. We're left with, you know, what is parenthood left to? The vastly subsidised classes, and the wealthy and the middle are really, you know, are having a hard time with it. But I think no government ever wants to touch the hot potato of, well, cut all this funding and let these things crash, because the boomers will be up in arms that their pensions and retirements and vast gold-plated investments will be not as strong as they once thought them would be. But, you know, I would love to live in a world where I get paid two-thirds of what I earn now for the rest of my life without having to go to work. That would be, like, unbelievable. You know, I would have to say, just by like sticking it in a pension scheme, you know, I don't think that would be possible. Like, you know, I'd have to, like, you know, own a business or something like that actually makes money to get towards that side. You know, you get older, you find some kind of little corner restaurant that does good business week in, week out, and you get yourself a good stake in it, and maybe that's your pension. Find a laundrette, find some other company and put a good stake in it when you're older, and that's your pension. That's kind of almost like the way that I see for our generation. The traditional pension won't cover it anymore. You're just going to have some going concerns in some good little businesses as a way of making ends meet when you get older. I think whether it's people being taxed or just, I'm not even sure if it's people being taxed. It's just that, you know, if places decide to create money at more or less nil interest, right? You, as the average person on the street, you can't borrow money at 0.25 or 0.5%. You've got to borrow it at 2.5%. But there are various people that can borrow this stuff at, you know, 0.5, 2.5%. So there's just a vast amount of people that can. Yeah, they could basically just outspend you because they can get the money cheaper than you can.
News like, do you know?
It's simply the fact that you're not a qualified financial institution. I mean, it's the same money at the end of the day. Waitrose Marylebone. Yeah, I think it's just like when you think, what's the value of your currency based on? Because it's just the way you see it now is that your purchasing power Just by doing nothing, your purchasing power wanes away every year. Just because basically more money gets printed than value is added to an economy, right? You get this inflationary thing when effectively there is more money than there are new things you are creating in an economy to add value to it. You always want to hit this very nice equilibrium point that, you know, you want to print money because someone wants to build a new factory or build a new road or make a new service or whatever, right? But if you print more money than there are factories or roads or services, there's less money per unit of actual value to go around there's more money per unit of value to go around in your economy. And because there's more money, that just, you know, it's got to find a home, right? You can't just print money and leave it nowhere. It's got to find a home somewhere, and that just then, you know, and you inevitably end up in an inflationary cycle with it. If you argue with an economist, they'll be very, you know, they'll be looking at different economic models of like, well, if we print more money, then we'll create more value in the economy because there's more money to stimulate more businesses. Or people will be like the other way, well, if you print more money, it doesn't really stimulate business, it just pushes money into more inflationary speculative instruments, which then means that money just loses its value because it just pumps up the value of things which already exist, or pumps up the price of things which already exist, but it doesn't increase their value. Well, I think, you know, one of the things that bears out that is the whole one of these difficult questions, and I'm not well versed enough in economics to really understand which side is more true than the other, but there I can clearly see that if you just print more money than you can do something useful with it, it'll just end up going into just pumping up prices of things, and it doesn't really add any value there. It just devalues what your average pound can do. I'd rather my pounds be, you know, valuable or something. This is in Marylebone High Street. It's one of these cute little side streets here. Acquire one whole Bitcoin and you're set for retirement. That's worth about what? $38,000 now, is it? Now a Bitcoin? But the whole point in retirement is that, what, in today's money? Depends how rich a pensioner you want to be, but probably about, if you've paid your house off, £10,000 to £15,000 a year, is enough to not live, you know, plus a state pension. It's probably plenty as a pensioner, right? As long as you're not spending it on Saga cruises all the time and trips to the Blackpool Playhouse or something. But yeah, there's a certain thing. I think like as long as you've like paid your house off and you're just paying bills and a bit of food and all that, it's not that expensive to live. But I don't know. Something almost I see in like from MLB to host spectator. CC Ricards at Otto Lengi Cuisine. Buying crypto is done. Yeah, like crypto isn't an edge. It's like I'm kind of like crypto is a thing you use your fund money for. It's not. It's such a wild instrument. It can be up 10-20% day on day. So you know, find things that are a bit slower in their value to invest in as a hedge. Like buy some precious metals or something. Buy some stocks in some very like old, well-renowned companies that pay you dividends. It's not a. I'm not really sure that crypto is the best thing to say. Well, will it hedge you against inflation? Will it hedge you against volatility? Not really. There is like crypto is like the most volatile thing you can buy by a long way. There's a beer and have it outside here. One sec.
after 5 years, I'm hoping they're going to hit Okay, it might be another 5 years before you find out.
Well, it's also actually having it in sort of. Alright. Okay, so back here, bought myself a pint of beer. Thought I'd probably be a nice drink for the evening, but it's a pint of tribute. Invest another £4.95 in this beer actually, yeah. It's a, you already have silver. I think I found to my dismay actually, if you buy silver, you still, in the UK it's not a great thing to buy because if you take physical delivery of the metal you have to pay 20% VAT on it. Silver is not regarded as a investment grade metal. In Britain, it is in the US, but it's not in Britain, so you have to buy it in. You can buy like the PSLV silver, like it's like a silver ETF thing you can buy, but like, if you buy it physically, you better buy it for like melting down into jewellery or making, you know, disinfectants or cutlery or whatever. But yeah, I mean, pretty much it's like put some money into different index funds every month. Buy some dividend stock. That's probably like what the average person should be doing anyway. If you're really interested in investing, put a bit of money into your fund money, like self-investment strategies and crypto and whatever else. I found actually a quite interesting. Yeah. I think like gold is a thing where like you can buy that tax-free, right? So it's, if you're going to buy precious metal, gold is pretty much the best thing to buy in the UK at least. And you can take delivery of it, and then you're not going to pay massive taxes on it. I came across this startup the other day. Actually, it was quite interesting. They're called Masterworks, and what they actually do is that they buy up like fine art, and then they sell shit. What they basically do is they set up a little company to buy like a Banksy or something like that, and they then sell shares in that company. Which I thought was quite interesting. So it was saying like instead of one person buying like a expensive painting, they can get like 20,000 people to put a few £100 in each, and then you can own a proportion of a piece of fine art, which I thought was, you know, yeah, I think what they've done as a company is quite interesting. Can I get gold from Argos? Well, you've got to look and just say like, what's the price per ounce for the gold, right? Or price per, you know, is it good caratage of gold? And then is it like a good price per ounce? But yeah, can do if you want. Yeah, I think like grandfather clocks are a good investment. I'm sure there was like other things, but yeah, I was very impressed with this firm called Masterworks that would say like basically securitizing art and just allowing you to buy like £100 worth of Banksy or something at like one time. I thought that was quite innovative as a, like, just, you know, breaking up all of these like big dollar investment opportunities into something a little bit smaller. Actually, I put a bit of money into it. Yeah, gold is a quite like, it's like, I think people like, from what I read, you know, keep 5 to 10% of your money in like precious metals, so, and that's your hedge against things going completely to shit. So you can buy some gold and keep it in your house, or have it in a fund or something like that. It's never meant to make you extreme money, but it's a thing where it's there and it's not going to lose its value too much. We have a better view. Well, we're in a soft Marylebone High Street at the moment. Things are down there. You have a better view of this pint of beer. That's just another bit of W1. This is. Another the Ivy here. Oh yeah, it's what do you say? Just seeking some value somewhere. Because I just have this real view that just throwing money in a pension is not going to be throwing money in a pension and waiting for your state pension to cover a little bit of things. It's really not going to be the world of 2060 or whenever we come to retire. You're going to have your fingers in a few pies and a few businesses to make it really worth it. Actually, you bought natural gas futures. Yeah, natural gas futures. Well, I don't know. I think that natural gas had these huge, massive spikes in its prices, but it's been on like particularly cold days on buying the spot price on the day. The actual futures people have invested in, I don't think they're that crazy, right? Like a lot of these energy companies. I think one of the things why a lot of these energy companies in Britain went bust is not that they were. Is that like the government decided to democratise the energy market in that only in the sense that people who were like not building power stations and running it themselves could buy essentially derivatives and financial instruments and like futures on buying energy and then resell that to the customer at a profit. That was what their view of democratising energy. Like all of your like, small energy firms weren't building power stations or buying controlling interests in them. They were just simply buying energy at low prices at futures on the market, and then they were like reselling that to customers and like making money on the middle of it. And then obviously when the prices went up, they probably ran out of the amount of BTUs of energy that they could really sell, and they had to buy some more on the spot market. And then the prices went crazy, and then what is it, like 20 of these firms went bust. But that democratisation of the market, which is really a Thatcher era or major era policy, like the one that happened now is like not really the same thing, because it wasn't saying that like, you know, we're going to open it out the market and say if you can raise money to build a new power station, you can build one and add to the national grid. It wasn't really. This is just reselling other people's power and trying to use financial engineering to make a bit of money in the middle of it. So yeah. Will there be a war? I don't know. You kind of get this feeling that like, I don't know, something is we're hitting some kind of, you know, I think we peaked as a society probably 10-15 years ago, right? We're in this like slow, steady decline at this point. I think Ukraine is a bit saber rattling, really. It doesn't. Because Russia did exactly the same thing about a year ago, and it wasn't talked about so much. I know they're doing it again, so I don't think Ukraine will be the thing that does it, but we'll see. Yeah. To say dog meat, no to dog heat. That's interesting. But yeah, no to dog meat. What's this? Anti-Korean. What? Natural food for pets. No to dogmeat.com. Will the economy have a depression? I mean, I think effectively you've been at a point where, you call it a depression now, but I think in the sense of deflation, that prices going down isn't happening. However, in the sense of your purchasing power going down, certainly. No to dog meat. Ending the dog and cat meat trade worldwide. Natural food for pets. Burnspet.co. I'm unsure if they're trying to say that the trade in the meat of the dog or the meat for the dog. I can't really. There's some kind of Celtic spoon design there. I think they don't want dogs and cats to be sold in the world meat trade, but I can't tell exactly. It's a bit ambiguous. But yeah, I don't know. Economically, the world hasn't gone completely to shit. It's just slidden downhill a little bit in the last few years. But if you bought well into tech stocks in early 2020, in March 2020 when everything crashed, and then you sold it probably in like mid-late 2021 or January 2021, you would have been pretty good. I don't know. And it comes down to, is there a fundamentally sound economy of people being able to do work, sell things, there are people there with money to pay for it, and you get a fair representation of value for what you do in terms of participating in it. And you're in this very financialized economy now where essentially money is worth more than work, far more than it ever has been. And in a way it just disincentivizes working, right? Because you make more money from money than you do from working. So why the fuck bother working? Various products in the window. I don't know, I think we're really experiencing a bit of ideological strife now, right? It's, okay, so this is like done with this needle felting technique, I believe. I've not really heard of it much before, but it's like you can make these ducks and rabbits and things, and it's just like you make these little fluffy creatures. Needle felting. But yeah, I think you hardly get the feeling of the West as a unified, strong block of countries that has a consistent ideology and and a consistent, national or group identity. It's very fragmented at the moment. A lot of infighting. I don't think that really, if I were some competing world power, I'd be like, well, yeah, they're pretty weak now. If I want to strike, it's probably a fairly good time. I think only in a total war situation, because in a limited one they still have militaries that have plenty of good equipment, but it's more do you want to get everyone to join up and sign up who's under 35? And then you see how dispirited and disjointed people are. Then you probably say, well, it's kind of good if you can push it to that kind of level. But who knows? No one's really tried that since 1939 anyway. It wouldn't be a meat grinder any of us would really want to see. Point done. Technology is fundamentally deflationary. The really big argument for even the really big argument for what do you call universal basic income is that technology sets you free from doing low value tasks, so you can be set free to do high value tasks. So technology is this other. If you ever read or listen to this dude called Buckminster Fuller, he died a while ago, but he was a dude who invented the geodesic dome and a few other things. And he had a lot of very futuristic ideas back in the 40s and 50s. His basic understanding of this was, that future improved technology will just make us, more able to do even higher value things as time goes on, because we've automated more of the crap out of our lives. I think that was a very utopian vision to have in about 1952, but I don't know. I feel like what we've end up doing is automating a lot of the crap out of our lives, but replacing it with a lot more crap as well. Or at least there is still an element of crappiness in there. It's just being replaced with a digital crappiness rather than you know, spending 8 hours a day doing your washing and baking. And I think only for the purpose of just, you know, feeding the money, the inflationary money lords. Yeah, I don't know. I'm supposed to get rid of the drudgery and all be doing very high value tasks all the time. I suppose you have to like cast yourself back and say, like, if you were like this person in like 1940 or 1950 and you look back to what we do now, it's like, you know, what's the relative economic value of what the average person's doing now versus what they were doing back then? I suppose you could say, like, you know, the real big labour-saving devices are like the invention of the washing machine and the invention of the microwave oven and the, you know, the invention of the dishwasher and those kind of things. Like, allow you these kind of rote, mundane, manual tasks to be replaced, and then I don't know. Those don't really happen so much anymore. It's just like, it's a very like insightful. You can find it on YouTube actually. It's like I suppose like a British newsreel film of like, it was filmed at this cusp of the time when like automatic washing machines were becoming a thing in, I suppose, just about post-war Britain, or like automatic washing machines were becoming the done thing to do. And if you look for like Liverpool wash house black and white, it's a really interesting video of like, there was a time, I guess, between like the end of the war and probably the mid to late 1960s, early 1970s, when like people didn't have, there were washing machines were available, but they weren't something you would always have in your house. And there's this great kind of video of just like basically that, you know, women would go to the wash house once a week. It's like a large laundrette kind of place, and you would go and put your washing in the washing machine, and you wait for it to go, and you'd then put it in the tumble dryer afterwards, and you'd wait for that to finish. And like on your washing day, you would go and do all of this. But in these wash houses, you would also have like they had most of the place set up for these washing machines, but they would also have this like Victorian, what it is called, the Victorian dolly tub, which is like a tub of hot water with a kind of potato masher type thing that you would use to still do your washing. And it's this really good little film where like it's all the kind of modern housewives of 1954 in Liverpool going out to do their washing every week, you know, who I don't know, in their 20s and 30s. And then you find this like 50, 60-year-old woman who's still hanging on to the Victorian technology of washing, of like doing all of her washing with a washboard and a dolly tub. You know, because she must have been born probably, you know, in the late 19th century, and was still carrying on with it. And I kind of feel like you can see that even that film there was pointing towards the greater level of automation, just on a mechanical level, right? Digital wasn't really even something at that time, but it was a mechanical automation. And like how much of a two different worlds we're living at that point. And I love to see kind of what the vast difference people would see from being mechanically automated to being digitally automated now would be. Because I think you would still see that a lot of what people would have been considered to be drudgery at that point has been utterly removed now. Twin tub washing machine. Yeah, that's another thing. But yeah, I think it's like one of the big things. If you ever, is it one of the films where you can always look into like what that culture was as well. It seems so weird to me, but it came out in like what, in the early 1970s or something. Like there's this film called Quadrophenia. It's based off one of the Who concept albums. And like one of the early scenes of the film is like the protagonist going to a bathhouse to go and have a bath, but it seems utterly alien to me that like, I guess it was like pre-1960s houses in Britain. There wasn't this like natural gas heating to a lot of houses, and places just had to have a fireplace, and then like if you wanted hot water, it was put the kettle on the fireplace for a long time, or you had to go to a bathhouse to have a bath. It's just like such a weird world compared to what I live in now, when I just have a combi boiler and you just turn the tap and it's hot water. But yeah, that was only like the 1970s, I suppose. Not that long ago. Is it me for a moment? Microwave oven. It is like a very weird thing though, like with microwave ovens, that apparently a thing in America, because their mains voltage is like 120 volts instead of 240, that effectively like the mains kettles don't really have enough power to heat water up quickly enough, so they use microwaves to like heat tea and coffee and stuff rather than the like traditional kettle, which is a bit crazy. All hail British electrical standards. John Lewis and Partners.
Talking shit like, oh, behind me, you can't even read.
Stradivarius. I thought this was a violin shop, but it's not. It's a shop of wispy lime green clothing. I think combi boilers are like one of the things that I think that actually technologically, when they work, they're a lot better than the condensing boilers you had beforehand, right? Because the idea is whenever someone just turns the hot tap on, they turn the boiler on, and there's no hot water storage tank you have to keep warm or have an immersion heater. It just heats it straight from the boiler. Like, you know, you wait 10 seconds for some warm water, but it's not lukewarm, it's kind of at a good temperature pretty quickly. You're filling a bath, it's nice. You're having a shower, it's nice. And then you're not having some big heating element keeping a big tank of hot water warm all day. There you go, one of those big technological leap forwards that is very well received. See what Devonshire Square is like. See the real me, can you see the real me? Ooh, new train station. This is the Elizabeth line exit for Bond Street, I believe. Let's have a look. See what's happening here. Oh, Hanover Square, not Devonshire Square, this one. Yeah. There is another one. Exits. Scroll down to the end of the chat. Woohoo! Shit, mate, there's a lot of chat in here. Phase change, instant boilers. What do you mean, that you like instantly make steam out of it or something? Is that the point? The thing is, yeah, the point with an immersion heater is you have to have some kind of copper tank of hot water with as many jackets as you can place on it entirely just to, like, you know, hold hot water for a period of time rather than just create the relatively small amount that you need, like, when you need it. You're not inducing so much heat loss. See what's popping here, eh? Bit of a limp. So this is a new station here. Menu of services is in here. Whoa. Well, that's big dollar if you want it. This building is entirely comprised by KKR and Glencore. KKR, I think they're two Australian firms, aren't they? KKR and Glencore. Glencore is the mining firm and KKR is the private equity people. It's like one of the world's big, we buy at your company, got all the value out of it, sell it a few years later, pocket a nice bit of money kind of thing, private equity. KKR in Glencore. Barclays Bank on Hanover Square. Thank you NHS on Hanover Square. Let's see whether Mr. Khan gets his pay per mile or extended congestion charge in London soon. If it does, it will be absolutely I'll be like, get the hell out of this city. I think I'm going to get myself the hell out of here anyway. Looking at buying a house somewhere like 2 counties away. Coming to London a few days a week, but yeah, I think it's best just to get the hell out of here now. Living in cities will become vastly constrained soon. Bristol, Manchester, Oxford, Birmingham going to have their own ULEZ kind of charges. So just make the movement of the average person a rather difficult endeavour. I think get the hell out into the countryside. Best chances. Think of the new DVLA rules. Well, there's this whole thing of like you're talking about the highway code. That it's been changed to alter the road priority hierarchy, the way that essentially drivers will have to yield to pedestrians which are, like waiting to cross, and that cyclists now have a specific instruction to ride in the middle of the road. The one that probably makes a little more difference is the former, actually, because as far as I understood in the interpretation of the highway code beforehand, it was more that like cyclists should ride in the middle of the road if they deem it a way of traversing the traffic safely. They're just being encouraged to do it more. I don't think it changes that much in terms of the way it will really be done, but it's more that the other one of drivers turning around a corner always have to yield to a pedestrian who may be waiting to cross, so it makes the entire road into a zebra. It makes all roads everywhere effectively a zebra crossing that I suppose aren't motorways. That's something which, again, I don't think behaviour will change much, but it's kind of essentially like things will change once a few people die from being knocked over and what the liability is assessed in court in it. But yeah, I think that like there's a whole notion that, again, outside of cities it's not going to matter that much, and inside of cities you don't want to hurt people with your car anyway, but it less about the behaviour of the car but what it does to the behaviour of the pedestrian, I think. Because if people are just more encouraged just to like walk out into the road without looking, I can't see that being a good thing at all. It's just a bit, people should be looking out for their own safety. I'm not walking out into a road full of cars. They should be looking for a safe place to cross, not just doing it willy-nilly anywhere. You know, and I think that's a change that will be paid for in blood almost. It's I mean, a driver's always going to stop if there's a pedestrian on the road somewhere. No one wants to hurt someone else, but it's if there's just some legal armour to people that say, well, if I just walk out into a road and don't look, you know, then I'm always on the good side. Maybe perhaps people will pay less attention to their own safety, and that's perhaps a negative externality that I could see as a result of it. And, I don't think that's a nice thing to happen to anyone. Eventually, a car is a big, big dangerous metal box. I don't really want to step in the path of these things. You suppose you see it on the other side, and the banning of jaywalking is a bit excessive, but I think the balance we had before was kind of about right. Walk out in the road if it's clear, but roads are places for cars, pavements are places for pedestrians. And look out for yourself a little bit. Ales and pie rooms, eh? The windmill. I just don't want to see people getting hurt by nonchalantly walking out into roads. Where's this one going, eh? Possibly they want rid of cars. I mean, cars are, pilloried. Again, cars are pilloried as the problem of society, but they're also they're almost the pinnacle of society. You can go where you want, when you want, in your own little private space. It's a very, on that base level, they're a laudable thing. It's kind of the half pint. But the other side is they clog up the roads, they create pollution, people die because they get hit by them. So. Alright, we're back. Alright, we're back. Can I have a half pint of beer?
Yeah. And if I don't, it's fine.
Pint of beer, please, barman. But yeah, I think that this. Oh my goodness, what did I spend on that? I spend that much on my car today. Pretty much. What else did I spend on my car today? See it lasting. I think changing how cars are, roll it is just common sense. But I think it's just effectively what I see this whole thing with ULEZ charges is that basically it's a tax on having an old car more than anything else, because you probably have to think in terms of well, would I rather have an old car on the road for another 10 years, or would I have to melt a load of old steel down and manufacture a new car entirely? That's and what is worse for the environment, keeping an old car running or manufacturing a new one like from nothing? And I'd wager you can get a lot more years out of an old car that's already been built than the environmental cost of building a new one. Things like old rollers, you can sometimes pick them up for like 7 or 8k actually. If you want to do them up a bit. I was looking actually at like, if you wanted to buy a house maybe in Buckinghamshire or Bedfordshire or Hertfordshire, something like that. Yeah, the only houses that you're really left with at that point are like the ones which you have to buy at auction and do up a bit. Otherwise, the ones at market price done up are a good 20-30% more than the rest of the country if you're in the home counties. Oh yeah, nicely detailed in there. It's got leather seats. It might even have a CD player if you're lucky. But for this age, probably a radio cassette, maybe. It does have a dent in the side there, actually. Yeah, a little bit of a dent. If you look in the shadow, it's kind of a little bit off. Tiny little dent there. But yeah, no, someone's had this cleaned nicely. So. Yeah, these are probably like 6 or 7 litre engines. These things, they're not going to be great for the fuel economy. To remove your cap. I think I'm wearing a hat I got for free somewhere today. Yeah, the old roller. The wipers on the headlights. It's just crazy. Roy's rolls. I found that if you go into like around Notting Hill, Holland Park that way, there's like an underground garage, which if you've got like a classic car, I think they must have taken over like an old car park that was there, maybe around Westfield or something, but there's like this underground garage that if you've got like a classic car, they will, for £600 a month, they will basically store it there properly for you, e.g. they will like turn the engine on every few weeks. They'll keep the battery charged, they'll put it under a cover. They'll make sure that like none of the components, they'll turn the tyres over. They'll give it a lap around the car park every week or something like that. And it's like a business which is designed, I guess, for like people who have like a classic car collection in London, or they have like a nice car that they want to keep, low mileage, but keep it turned on and keep it like turning over every so often. So like if you have something which will probably appreciate by £600 a month or more, it's definitely, it seems to be rather worth putting it in this garage and they'll just like look after it for you. But for some people, probably the cost of parking, if you can't get a residence parking permit and you have one car already, like it's probably worth it to a lot of people, other than the cost of just parking your car outside your house 24/7. Well, it's this very weird thing, it costs you £7.5 grand a year, to park a car, to park a nice car professionally in the city. So it's just weird economics that work in this place. I imagine like an old Ferrari F350 or something like that. An old Aston Martin DB6 would probably appreciate more than that per year anyway, so it's quite funny. Lou Grade only had one phone in his Rolls Royce and Jerry Anderson had 2. Yeah, I was always really astounded, I'd never come across a car phone in my life until I had some German relatives that came up as a visit in the late 90s once, and they brought, I don't know, a BMW 5 Series or 3 Series over from whether they were in Hamburg or somewhere like that. And they had a car phone in their car, and I was like, my God, what is this sci-fi technology here? The first time I ever saw one was about 1999 or something. Yeah, I bought myself a car recently, and I was like trying to do. I thought it were like 85,000 miles on the clock. It was a BMW, and I've been trying to like make it run nicely, and now I realise it's like an infinite money pit of repairs. I mean, if I took it to the dealer, I'm like trying to do all the repairs myself. I bought some tools, and I'm buying like a shitload of spare parts now just to replace things, because I've replaced the valve cover gasket on it. I've replaced the variable valve timing solenoid actuator gaskets on it. I've replaced the radio. I've replaced some of the tyres. Yeah, I think I bought the car knowing I'm gonna have to fix a shitload on it. I've done a hell of a load of cleaning inside of it. But yeah, I don't know. I think I feel like with cars of that age, you need to like really service them fastidiously. These German cars, you need to really service them properly, like throughout their entire lifetime, or they will just fuck you up as they get older. And I'm kind of going. I'm reaping the whirlwind of this now. So I think I'm going to have to do the oil separator valve assembly, perhaps like this weekend or something. Then I realise that my engine burns quite a bit of oil. I don't think it's the valve stem seals or the piston rings yet, but I think it's the oil separator valve. So I have to like take a big part of the engine apart to replace that. But yeah, I'm going to have to keep going until I just basically remove all the sources of crap coming out the engine now. It may take a while. The car's still quite nice to drive, but I realise it burns more oil than I want to. And it's got like 90k miles on it now. And I need to take it out a few times a week for various things. Enjoying my infinite money pit that this car is. Yeah, basically, but I think the thing is with the Beamers is that basically like a lot of the silicon seals on the engine go, which by themselves are not expensive, but it's if you pay a mechanic to do it, it's quite a lot of hours of labour to like take all the bits out of the car. It's something like, yeah, I think it's just like some of the seals may take you 2, 3, 4 hours of labour to get to. But maybe just a £20 seal that you need to replace. But sometimes you also need specialist tools to like change them. So again, it's not really ever the cost of the parts; it's the cost of the labour for these things. Things that really cost you money is buying like ECUs and stuff. But the cost of the odd rubber seal here and there is like 20 quid. It's not crazy at all. But yeah, I think I might keep this BMW, keep it running for a while. I'll spend the money to keep it running, because it's just like, to me, I feel like it's just a nice way of learning how to fix cars. But I get the feeling I'll buy like a 5-year-old Toyota when I want to get rid of it and have a thing that can run for like, 10 years with nothing more than oil changes and tyre changes on it. But first I want to become like, a reasonably decent car mechanic. You can do most of the basic stuff by yourself. And you can diagnose most of the basic stuff by yourself. I think it's nice to have that dominion over like, I think when you get all this other conspiratorial notions of like, you will own nothing and be happy. Owning nothing isn't really the point of it, but it's like, if you have nothing, then you don't look after things, and if you don't look after things, you don't know how like, the built human world works around you, and you just pay people to do all the shit around you at all. Whether it's directly by like, taking you to a garage if you own a car, or indirectly by you just like buy a new car every 4 years, and there's no, you know, servicing cost to it because you're just paying for it through the lease anyway. But I think it's nice to have, you know, you own things, you have the right to repair, you have dominion over what you have, and you learn how to work with it, you know, and make things last. You know, regardless of whether you can afford a new one or not, it's, you know, it just engenders a very throwaway culture. It's nice to have a sense that you have things, you work on things, you maintain things, and you keep them in good condition, and you know what keeps them in good condition. Because I think even with a lot of cars, right, there's nothing that fundamentally stops them from, as long as you can replace various wear items in them, there's nothing that stops cars running for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. Like when you think of like what wears in an engine, it's you know, seals, piston rings, bearings and stuff, right? They can all be replaced over time. Over a while, like your piston bores may get worn to be slightly larger, but like again, that's not really a bad thing if you just change them slightly wider piston rings. But it's just sense that, you know, if you know how things work, you can fix them and you can keep them running for a much longer time. And if you take the agency away from people, everything becomes just like a, oh, it's broken, buy a new one. I don't like that. I think I'm just very supportive of this whole right to repair movement, because it's like, you know, people have this, you know, have this notion that, like, you know, they can go in, if something isn't working properly, they can have it repaired. They can go and fix it themselves. They can pay a third party to fix it. It doesn't need to be just replaced entirely. Because that's just a great, you know, recurring revenue stream for any manufacturer. But the onus should be on the manufacturer to, you know, make things that last, and things when they do fail that they're relatively easy to get replacement parts. And for them, you know, I suppose the manufacturer will be like, well, if we make a better product, then perhaps people will buy it, but not simply because the old one fails and the old one is only incrementally better. I can see really what the economic benefit of like thwarting right to repair is, though, because like you don't have to make a better product over time, really. You don't have to improve that much. You have to be incrementally better, but fundamentally, because the other person's product will fail within 5-6 years or so, they'll just buy the next thing, and then, well, you know, it's slightly better than what they had before. It's Carnegie Street, Newburgh Street. But if it's slightly better, then maybe that's a good investment for them. That's about the minimum you need to do to get someone to buy into the second time or nth time in your own cycle. You know, for another quick toilet break, and then I will come back. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for, like, what was it, the late 90s, mid-late 90s to mid-late 2000s. That, like, hello. Yeah, I think, like, if you're a manufacturer, there isn't a if you're a manufacturer, right? We back. Brewer Street now. Land of the Capricciosa here. Rare single yellow parking spaces. Yeah, single yellow here, if you have a smart car. On the snow. Time for another beer. Let's see, I might go to Dodo and get a tin or something, but it's Broadick Street. Now. Domo arigato, more closed public toilets. These ones on Broadick Street, there. They're also closed. Used to man or beast, I think. These ones with the coat of arms on. Coat of arms. They're closed. You have to put 50p in. 20 minutes maximum. There you go. Pretty inconvenient for the public. I'd give those. Axel Alligato. There's a blue post back at Kyvie. There's a blue post here. And that's that's like a proper UK Chevy or Chrysler. It's a bit Goodfellas-like, isn't it? It's bespoke, isn't it? Left-hand drive. Chrome bumpers galore here. Chrome bumpers. That's good. Well, yeah, someone's brought out their classic El Clasico today. The car is like the size of a one-bedroom flat, that thing. It's huge. What's wrong here? It's the Autodesk office here. What I'm like. Thank you, Desert. Record of it. Yeah, I think it's more like, I think Foss is in Turkey or something now. Immortal is wherever he is. This is more like I was just kind of wandering back from work tonight and thought I'd.
You said that way. You said that way.
Thought I'd show you.
No, we thought Newton. Sorry.
What's happening here? Records. Girl Stop Heron, 6 pieces of silver. John Coltrane live at the Village Vanguard. These are like collectible records here. £20. 18. Gil Scott Heron. 19. Yeah, £20. I think if you buy like a record in like an HMV or similar now, they cost more than 20 quid anyway. But I wonder if these are like someone goes hunting around charity shops for esoteric soul and jazz cuts, and then they find it here. Joy Division, Love Will Tear Us Apart. What's that? 12-inch single? £16. Paul A. Young. I'm sure not the musical artist. De Schiffer. Bussaba. I'm going to the Soho Hotel actually. Let's go for a wander. It's one of these squashes. You can go into the back door. Let's see what happens.
There's the mark.
Yeah, thank you. Good little shortcut if you ever know it. Soho Hotel's probably about £9 fine, yeah. So I had a rather joyous time. I went to Spoons earlier and got a 99p pint of beer. Right, how does that even work in this modern economy? But it does somehow. 99p a pint of ale. Cannot complain. Sweet dreams are made of cheese. Chips. Estrella Galicia. Wine and some monkfish here. Spoke to me. The Crown and Juicy.
Quite a lot of it is just.
Jackson. That song, isn't it? Dog and duck. Flip into the camera. Frith, let's see what's popping at Ronnie Scott's tonight. I know. Yeah. How much do you think? This one. Mr. Immortal's gone AWOL, I think. He'll be back when he's back. Well, vaping in his taxi.
Is that last orders at the bar? Is that last orders? That's last orders at the bar, folks. So if you want to get a drink, I'll do it now, pretty much. Anyway, we're coming to the end of the night. Thank you very much for listening. I'm going to play a Beatles song for this man who I think you were here before.
Yeah, we're tuning in. We saw some
come back.
live London pub scene. Showing you what the sights and sounds of the city are like. So I made this work. But yeah, the vibes are good. This is a good pub for this kind of night. Thanks for joining, everyone. Pretty quick little switch through that place. That was worth a half pint. Okay, basically we're just winding through a bit more central now.
She's very.
Let's go into Leicester Square, see what's popping there. Wait, we got a McChicken.
We mean for
Actually, I can't have triple chicken today. I had a broke fast with a break my fast today. Had a fucking milkshake for breakfast today. I don't know. I just pick it up because it's like in the shop when I go in the tube station. It's chicken carry out again. It needs a soup at a Japanese restaurant for lunch. Additional piece of chicken for dinner. Are you all closed now? Oh, apparently the restaurante is geschlossen. Well, we can go in here. Let's see what the old authentic McDonald's ordering experience feels like. Oh, God. It's a new Saver menu. Okay, we're back. So what are we going for today? Save the menu. Single cheeseburger. Mayo chicken. Back on mayo chicken. What do we do then? Happy meal? Plain cheeseburger, happy meal. Save the menu. I think we'll be here half an hour getting something. There's a big crowd waiting here, so I think we'll leave it. Might just get a piece of toast on the way home or something. Maybe that would be the new innovation in late night food. Single piece, like, you know, toast butter and a bit of jam or peanut butter on it at the end. I think for a late night one, you know, toast butter and a bit of peanut butter. One slice, 50p. High volume, low margin kind of product. He opened the toilet door.
Okay, rewind. Why is that? Don't do that. No, it's not gonna do that. I'll be.
Saw the Subway sandwiches a while ago. He's not anymore. Ichi Banda. Les mignons. Like, as far as I see though, like, hello again. Like living in London is definitely actually it's possible, but it's merely that like you have to be a working couple. You have to be kind of dinky. Like if you're not coming there with any kind of wealth already, you have to be kind of a dinky dual income, no kids yet. Be a working couple, and you have to be prepared to saddle yourself with a big mortgage. You can live in London on that money, but you need 2 people on professional jobs, 100k plus joint income per year, and a big mortgage. If you can take those 3 things, you can live in London. Without it, you're pretty screwed though. But apparently, so much of the dodgy money in the world is just filtered its way into here that it's and 30 to 50% more expensive than the rest of the country for the same kind of thing. Or running your own business or whatnot. Yeah, it's just the way it's just the way it is, right? At this point in time. Yeah, house share. But like the thing is with house sharing is it's like yes, it's alright if you're in your 20s doing it and you're not married and like you're just working. Like, but it's just a way of making renting cheaper. But you can't live a proper adult life. You can't have a family on that on like house sharing. It just works on people who are like 22 to about 30 years old. Who've got their graduate to like 2nd to possibly 3rd job. And while you're just sorting your own life out, it just about works there, but it's not it's just a temporary way of living, which I think you take a generation ago, people would have done about 25, 26. Now people are doing it to probably they're like 32, 35 years old. But the whole point is like by the time you hit your mid-20s, you should be hitting those big life milestones, getting married, buying a house, having some children and stuff. But people aren't till their mid-30s now. So, modern economy has just basically put everyone's adult life back a long time, which ain't great. There's a whole generation of children being born potentially 6 to 8 years later. Which is not a great way of running a country. Creative Macton Hacken. Well, anyway, we're going down to Trafalgar. Might go get myself a suitcase of wine in the co-op and then we head home. Yeah, I try and come in once a week on this thing. Try and give you a bit of central London. What's dropping? I get lost. But yeah, I think actually YouTube doesn't really promote these videos particularly well. Anyway, I'd probably get more subs if I just made car repair videos or something, or programming videos, or political commentary videos. Just walking around live streaming, it's pretty low on their search engine ranking, I think. Caught in a trap, no turning back. Lost in music. stepping inwards from the air to earth, winds round itself to meet the open sky, so vanishing becomes a second birth. Farewell, return again. Here, home and elsewhere, share one mystery. Here, love and conscience sing the same refrain. Here, time leaps up and strikes eternity. Is there anyone more well read in the Bible? Please tell me where that comes from. I'm not sure what book that essentially is. Let's say this is in the crypt of St. Martin's in the Field. In the fields. Alright. Code for sausage drill. Anyway, I'm going to attempt the experience of 24H urinal only. Please bear with me. I will mute the audio for the next minute or so. Muted. Okay, well, review of that is it smelled like Glastonbury, but there were no turds in the toilet, so at least get 5 out of 10 for that. Clouds could generate electric. Why don't we harness it quick there? Is that you're familiar with the music of Kate Bush? That's that wonderful little well, it's the whole thing. They create a vast amount of static electricity, right? Clouds. But there's this wonderful little music video. You've got it, Kate Bush cloud busting, which is all about a random scientist who tried to capture the electricity generating value of clouds. They made a video about it in the early 80s. But it's one of my favourite songs actually, and it's one of my favourite music videos. Good is gonna happen. Whatever it's gonna be. But yeah, it's look for Kate Bush cloud busting on YouTube or any other associated music video hosting site, and it's a wonderful little video kind of associated to their topic that's there. There's plenty of energy that comes down to this planet every day, right? It's just that we're efficient at capturing it. There's plenty of gravitational energy from the moon. There's plenty of radiant solar energy from the sun.
It's underground and in the
Right.
basement, I assume.
Yeah. But we got to be good at taking it all in. Otherwise, there's plenty of energy in terms of coal, oil, and gas to burn. There's plenty of energy in terms of just uranium ore we can concentrate and make heat via kind of nuclear metals here. Go in here. Jumbo's Villiers Street. Gone in a tram. It's down the old. One. Yes, that was pretty much a 1-1 then. did tell Immortal about the last critical mass, but I don't think he went to it. I had to be out of town on that night, unfortunately. Sandwiches and snacks. Let's see if I can buy something in cash here. What do I have in my pocket? I might have a few shekels. I think I've got maybe £1 in 20, 40, 60, 80, 90, 92 pence. Can I get a packet, Chris, with that? £92. I'll buy a packet, Chris. Bye. 120 now.
One of these and one of these ones. Thanks very much.
We have 20, 40, 60, 80, 92 pence. What can I buy for 92p here? What can I buy for 92p?
What would you like?
Well, what can I buy for
Crisp or a chocolate?
What?
What are you looking for? Crisp or chocolate?
I don't know, a packet of crisps, chocolate bar, something like that, yeah.
Okay, you can get hula hoops or you know, any of them like Snickers, small ones, or bars.
A small Snickers is 99p on this one, though.
Yeah, just give me that. That's all right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Let's go for a small Snickers then. All right. 92p then.
Thank you.
Cheers, man. 1,000. All right, negotiating bargains there. That was nearly a 10% off. Hang on. 50 grams. 50 grams of Snickers, 92 pence. But that should be like 55p, right? 50p. 50% markup there. But I just wanted to see what I could get for like less than £1. There's not much in that shop. For the 99p Snickers for 92. It wasn't a bargain, but it was just doing that for the lols, really. Yeah. I'm sure in my, when I was a child, the Snickers would be 35 pence. Now it'd be like 55. And there it was 99p. Oh. Yeah. Welcome to inflation 2022. Theodore Bullfrog.
I didn't see it.
But yeah, same price as a hamburger. No, cheeseburger actually. McDonald's does a cheeseburger for 99p. Barely buy a chocolate bar in a little shop here. Delvin. This is the Adelphi Hotel. It's 50 grams there. just thought it was funny. This Adelphi place is used. Like, it's a really good TV series. If you look at the, like, 1990s era ITV John Suchet Hercule Poirot series, this is always taken to be like a nice hotel, the Adelphi place, and they filmed a lot in here. Oh. Is anyone in here now? It's always taken to be like the nice hip place if you were in 1925 London. It's a bit, actually. Yeah. Confectionery is a micro joy to have now. Strand up there, Adelphi Hotel here. Go right here and then find the Savoy just around the corner. One day I'll try and get Immortal out and we'll go do a Savoy Hotel bespoke cocktail stream. It's a bit late to do it now though. You want to go at like 9 PM or something. But it's go there. Or maybe I'll go to the Savoy Grill and have dinner. Okay. See what the old public signage is like. Yeah, well. I mean, like, one of the things that I feel is very interesting though is that Cadbury or whatever, they make the Quality Street selection box for Christmas. So many people have written in saying, we want the big box that lasts the whole extended family for the entire Christmas period. They got rid of like selling the like 1 kilo box of sweets 2 years ago, but they brought it back now because, you know, people want to buy like a metal tin of chocolates which will last their whole extended family from, like, you know, 3 days before Christmas Eve until 2 days after Boxing Day. Savoy Hotel, finest accommodation in London, I believe. But yeah, it's like the Quality Street brand has realised they can make the cheap, like, £4 thing to spend in supermarkets, but people have enough tradition in it that they'll pay 15 quid for the big box, you know, to get them through the festive period. So it's still there. Basically, if you go to like a John Lewis or a Waitrose, you can actually, like, you can go to those places and you can fill up your own box with your own ratio of the different sweets, and whatever you prefer. If you want fewer toffee pennies or toffee battens or whatever it is. I think no one ever eats the toffee from the Quality Street. They just go like, I still got the tin left from Christmas, and like, it's still got the toffee like left in it. Like, no one ever has it. It's just like, so yeah. You can compose your own, you know, you can compose your own Quality Street without the toffee in, fundamentally.
Oh fuck, that's how
getting them Ubers. What else we got here? Duke of Wellington. Right. It's a red light, so across the old Waterloo Bridge. I'm not the hug ya. Beep. Flagrant breaking of the highway code. Absolutely pathetic. But yeah, this is the roadwork. So previously this was like one-way circulatory system here, right? If you were coming up from Strand, you would take a left and you go round Aldwych. If you were coming from Fleet Street, you would go down here and then along the left over Waterloo Bridge, or there'd be a one-lane turning phase to cross over the people exiting Waterloo Bridge to go down the Strand. But now you can't actually drive down from Fleet Street to come straight down here. You have to go around the other way. It's one of these one-lane traffic jobbies to add a piece of dead road space here just in front of King's College, I suppose. Somerset House. See, they're building a vast moat into the moat they're building here. Yeah. Bye-bye road space in central London. Hello, additional pedestrianised areas. One kilogram of chocolates in a tin into sin, I believe. Anyway. Cannes, London, eh? Yeah, well, it's certainly not that car friendly. It's not even that bus friendly, to be honest. But yeah, I've just been on a little wander tonight, so I will head home in a minute. But yeah, thank you for tuning in tonight. We'll be back to our regular programming maybe in a week's time or something. I try and do one of these a week. Whenever it's suitable. If not, there are various other programming channels available. Yeah, I think I'll log off from Aldwych, central London. Hope you've had a good evening. I hope that I've shown you a bit around, like, you know, there's still a good bit of life around here. It's not entirely dead as long as you can find it. A few good pints of beer are still available. The life and vibe of the city is still ticking. Yeah, it ain't what it was, but there's still something here. Yeah, right. Hope you enjoy this, and it's logging off, Mr. Shapes, and yeah, I hope to see you again. Have a good night.